So, aside from Lux, episode 2 of Series 15, or Season 2, the other episode that I was really looking forward to this particular season was episode 6, the Interstellar Song Contest, written by Juno Dawson. I don't know, maybe just with the camp episodes of Doctor Who or the ones that are a little bit more outlandish, maybe I like them a little bit more, but then again, that's just me. Now, before I get started, I want to say a big congratulations to Austria, who last night won the Eurovision Song Contest. And do I think it was any coincidence that this episode of Doctor Who broadcast on the same night as Eurovision? Coincidence? I think not! But anyway, in this particular episode we see the 15th Doctor, played once again by Ncuti Gatwa, and his companion Belinda Chandra, played by Varada Sethu. They end up landing at the Harmony Arena. While the Doctor attempts to kind of do his last bit of validation he needs before he can get Belinda home, they discover that the Harmony Arena is playing host, once again, to the Interstellar Song Contest. Basically like an outer space version of Eurovision, featuring singers from over 40 different worlds vying to compete at the big night. And to be honest, that's a pretty fun setup. The competition being hosted by a kind of cat-faced humanoid named Sabine, played by Julie Drey, and also by Ryland Clark. Now, when I read that this particular episode was going to feature appearances by Ryland Clark and Graham Norton, my immediate thought was, well, okay, they're probably going to be playing, he's going to be the host of the Interstellar Song Contest, but he's not actually going to be playing himself. No, when I read that they were actually going to be playing themselves, my immediate thought was, okay, does this mean in the Doctor Who universe that Ryland Clark and Graham Norton are aliens, or does it mean they're Eternals? Turns out they're neither. Ryland Clark was placed in suspended animation in order to get him here to the year 2925 to host the Interstellar Song Contest, and Graham Norton is a hologram. Apparently he's been dead for a couple of hundred years now at this point, but he'd sold his likeness to a hologram company, and thus he appears to give information. You know what? I'm totally fine with this. This tracks me. I like this. However, it doesn't entirely go plain sailing for them. I mean, for one, they end up nicking the seats from two attendees of the song contest, Mike Gabberstone and Gary Gabberstone, played by Kadif Kawan and Charlie Kondu, who are not best pleased about it. But then it turns out there's something even bigger going on. Because it turns out that two aliens known as Hellions from the planet Helios, named Kid, played by Freddie Fox, and Win Ora Kin, played by Iona Anderson, they have come here to try and sabotage the competition as they end up taking over. While they play the kind of dress rehearsal so that nobody will suspect anything, they reveal their ultimate plan is to set off a delta wave at a certain point in the competition, which will kill all 3 trillion people watching the Interstellar Song Contest. And to make sure people can't interfere, they kind of release the kind of air shells so that people can fly off into space, including the Doctor. While Belinda manages to not get sucked out, she has to find a way to get the Doctor back, which results in the two meeting several characters. As I said, the Gabberstones, who turns out are a gay couple, fair enough, and also one of the singers, Cora St. Bavier, played by Miriam Teague Lee, as well as her, I'm not sure if it's her friend, her partner, or her business manager, Len Kazar. And ultimately you have to find a way to kind of get everybody back. This episode I also feel does very well with its representation, both of, as I said, LGBTQ with Mike and Gary, but also with actors and actresses of various disabilities. I mean, the main producer on the show is a woman named Nina Maxwell, played by Karuna Stamwell, an actress with dwarfism. And you know what? I think they do well representing her. I do also like in this particular episode how they kind of show a darker side to the Doctor, but hang on, I'll get back to that point in 1 second. Because ultimately, while the Doctor is kind of in space with everybody else and seemingly about to freeze, the thing that ultimately pulls him back is the memory of his granddaughter, Susan Foreman, played by Caroline Ford. Now, it was hinted last year that around kind of the last 2 episodes, Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, that Susan could return. And I think, while we thought that would be cool, I think a lot of us by this point are possibly shaking it off. But then to see Caroline Ford in her 80s, but still coming back to Doctor Who to make this appearance, I hope we get to see more of her. But to be honest, it's really good to see her here, and she's looking good for it. Anyway, it's ultimately revealed why Kid and Wynn want to destroy the competition, or want to kill all these people. They mainly want to do it to take revenge on the corporation sponsoring the competition, Poppy Honey. Because their planet Helios was pretty much razed to the ground and destroyed in order to make Poppy Honey, and as a result of this, in order to keep the Hellions quiet, Hellions aren't even allowed to participate in the Interstellar Song Contest for fear that it might kind of reveal what's going on. And I do also like that we get to see a darker moment with the Doctor here, as we see when he still believes Belinda to be dead, when he kind of tries to take revenge on Kid by using his hologram to seemingly electrocute him, it's a dark side to this Doctor, and with Ncuti, we haven't really gone to see a darker side of him yet. So I think they do this really well here. I will also like that when the Doctor teams up with kind of Mike, Gary, and kind of everyone involved to try and get everybody out, get everybody back, they're all okay. They're able to survive, and they kind of use a teleport in order to kind of bring everybody back, including Rylan, which I do like. To which, a side note, while I've thought for a while that Rylan Clark is kind of a Marmite personality, you either like him or you don't, I will admit he gains points here, not because he's in the episode, but also I saw in the Doctor Who Unleashed episode that came along with this, that Rylan says he is a big Doctor Who fan, and he got to visit the set of the TARDIS, to which sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but I think like with Fox's visiting the TARDIS for Mummy on the Orient Express in 2015's Mummy on the Orient Express, Rylan gains a few extra points for that he's a Doctor Who fan and he got to visit the TARDIS set. That to me works. I did also like when they're teleporting everybody back into the stadium, the song that they use, Bucks Fizz's Making Your Mind Up, which was in Eurovision in 1981. To me, I was like, yeah, that tracks. And to be honest, Making Your Mind Up was a winner for Bucks Fizz and the UK in 1981's Eurovision, so yeah, that works for me. And speaking of the music, though, they do also have a really beautiful song played by Cora St. Bavier. Towards the end of the episode, she reveals that she is also from Helios, and then kind of does a song with kind of burning poppies in the background, showing her kind of raised world, that even though it's in a different language, at least for me, it to me seemed absolutely beautiful, and it really did stir in my heart just how much this worked. And I do like that. But then we come to one part of the episode where I know a lot of people are going to like this. I personally am not sure on it yet. Because first of all, when the Doctor and Belinda are heading back to the TARDIS, Graham Norton pops up again, to which, love to see him. He then reveals that pretty much the day that Belinda left, planet Earth exploded, and they have no idea why. The Doctor tries to get Belinda back to planet Earth, only to find themselves in the middle of the explosion, which knocks out the TARDIS door. That's not the problem. However, when the credits roll, we then get a final scene with kind of Mike and Gary kind of getting the last surviving person back into the studio, that being Mrs. Flood, played once again by Anita Dobson. And then Mrs. Flood reveals that she is a time lady, and that being out there kind of froze part of her double brainstem. So she starts to regenerate, and then she bigenerates into her new form. So which we now have Mrs. Flood and a new version of her, played by Archie Panjabi. And it's then revealed that Mrs. Flood and this new version, played by Archie Panjabi, are the Time Lady, the Rani. Now, on the face of it, this has the opportunity to be really cool. I mean, I personally thought the Rani was like permanently off the table in terms of Doctor Who potential returning villains. Mainly because I heard for years they couldn't use the Rani because the rights to the character were owned by Kate O'Mara's family. Kate O'Mara played the Rani back in the 1980s, with her last appearance on screen at least being in 1987's Time of the Rani. So, I don't know, for the idea that the Rani is back, that's kind of cool. But I don't know if I had the same kind of guttural reaction that I had with some of the other kind of returning big bads. Like with Missy in 2014's Dark Water, like when it was revealed at the end of the episode that Missy was the Master, or even Sacha Dhawan's reveal as the Master at the end of Spyfall Part 1, those to me made my blood run cold, and I remember being totally scared of them. This one, though, I'm not entirely sold yet. We've got 2 episodes left of this particular season, Wish World and The Reality War, and given that the Rani is set to be kind of a big player in both of those, I mean, they show a photo of the kind of big villainous trio for this episode, next episode being Archie Punjabi's Rani, Mrs. Flood, played by Anita Dobson, and Conrad Clark, played by Jonah Howard-King, to which that's going to be a bad guy team-up, a great bad guy team-up. But I don't know if, with the big reveal, it didn't chill my blood as much as other big reveals did. And I think possibly one of the reasons for that is the timing. Like, when Missy was revealed as the Master at the end of Dark Water, we only had 1 episode left to go. And even with that, it kind of meant that things were already bad, but then throw the Master into the mix, that suddenly made things a whole lot worse. Whereas with 2 episodes to go, yes, we have seen that planet Earth has exploded, or planet Earth has been blown up, or devastated in some fashion, but it feels like a build-up to a build-up. Like, the Doctor doesn't yet know that the Rani is involved. We, the audience, know, but the Doctor doesn't. And I don't know, maybe that just kind of fits in for me, that until the Doctor knows that the Rani is involved, I think this has the opportunity to be really great, but it's not quite there yet. Like, 1 more episode, Wish World, when the Doctor finds out the Rani is involved, then I think we can have a chance to be kind of truly terrified. But until then, as I said, it's not quite there yet. But that being said, I feel this episode was camp, it was fun, it was comedic, and as I said, I really do enjoy this episode. Is it the best? Probably not, but I'd stick it on my list. I think I'd stick it underneath Lux, but above the likes of The Robot Revolution and Lucky Day. So for me, it's kind of in the middle. My ranking so far, on terms of which episodes I like the best, which ones I like the least, I'd probably start off with The Well, then go to The Story in the Engine, Lux, the Interstellar Song Contest, The Robot Revolution, and then Lucky Day to round out the list. But let me know your particular ranking down in the comments and what you thought of this particular episode. As I said, I thought it was a fun time and it had some really good moments. It just had 1 or 2 that towards the end, that I'm not entirely sold on yet. There's still time. Anyway, until next week's kind of penultimate episode, see ya.